Hello, welcome to Michael's How To. Today we're going to step into my kitchen and we're going to talk about some country fried chicken. And I was thinking about today, what's the actual title? I'm going to go ahead and call it Triple Threat Country Fried Chicken. Triple Threat. It tastes good when it's fresh right out of the pan. It tastes good when it's at room temperature. And it tastes good when it's cold. So what we start off with, you could do thighs, you could do drumsticks. I took the drumsticks because I was pressed for time, so you just see a basic drumstick right there. I always take off the skin, even if I have thighs. I take off the skin, cut off the excess fat because I just don't want that. I want to be able to eat everything on the chicken and just leave only the bone and there's a little bit of cartilage. So what we start off with is you got to have all your ingredients ready. So as you see, I got 2 pieces of chicken. I got 1 egg, and we'll talk about that. As opposed to the traditional flour, I use masa. It binds to the product a little bit better and has a better, stronger, thicker crust and has a different texture from flour. The ingredients that I use is an abundance of different things. It's garlic powder. I use a Mexican chicken seasoning salt. It's in the orange, I don't know the brand, but it's in the orange little can, cylinder type object. Pepper, paprika, a little bit of cayenne pepper, garlic, herbs and seasoning, just a lot of non-salty herbs. There's a lot of stuff going into this, so I mixed up the seasonings and you can see that. I got a little parsley in there, there's pepper, and I'll go ahead and pass this around. Everyone get a little smell. Make sure you don't drop that, but you just pass that around and you get a sense of the herbs. So what we got going on, as we got the seasonings going around, everyone's smelling them, we're just going to take off the skin, and on drumsticks you just simply pull it off. And so just go like that, and you're good to go.
Wow, you make it look so
And then just right here, same thing, you just pull it off. And also, if they're really slippery, one thing that helps, if you run them under hot water, you get like a grip on them, and then you could do it even easier. Thighs, it takes a little bit longer because not only you have to pull off the fat, but then you got to pull off the excess skin. Even if you roll it down just like that, that would be fine because it'll fry, and you don't even eat this part of the chicken anyway. So now that we have that, I got my towel right here. Now, you think I have those seasonings back?
Absolutely.
So we got the seasonings right over here, and we're just gonna go ahead and season it. And one thing you want to know is that you can't be scared to put the salt on the chicken, because if you don't put the salt on, you gotta understand that it comes into contact with the oil, comes in contact with the egg, which I'll get to later, and it comes in contact with this. So a lot of times it gets rubbed off, and you don't want to have lack of the flavor. There's all the flavors there, but if you don't have the salt, it's like, everyone says, oh, it's too salty, but realistically, if there's not enough salt on the food, you can't taste it, you can't enjoy it as much. So we're gonna go ahead and just toss this over and go ahead on both sides. And then what I like to do, I would normally season in a big casserole dish like this and then mix it all up together. So I'll go ahead and do that, what I would do. And so we got that mixed up, and you see that it's seasoned, put a little bit more on there. That'll be perfectly fine. And then now, what this egg does, you always want, before you put it in the flour, this is essentially the glue. This will keep the flour together and bind the skin, because it's all about the skin when you make the fried chicken, because you don't want to have, if you don't use this, it peels off and it just doesn't look as attractive. So you go right there, boom, you got a fork, and then you just beat it real quick. And normally it's about, I'd say 1 egg per 4 pieces of chicken. And so I'm just gonna pour this on the chicken, and then we're gonna mix that. So just like that, and it's gonna get a little messy, but I already know that's gonna happen. So this is why you don't want to be scared to put salt on, because you see that the salt will be rubbing off. And so I marinated these. It was like that for about 7 o'clock, and then so it was marinating for a good 6 hours. So I'll normally do this 6-7 hours in advance. And so we got this with the egg right here. And what you want to do, because you have a question?
Yeah, is the rub on there for 6 or 7 hours? Not with the egg.
Oh no, yeah, not with the egg. You can put the egg in.
Rubs on 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah. So not with that. And then what you want to do, because that some of the salt's gonna rub off, you would just go into your, you can use flour or masa, and you would just use this. I prefer, some people use a plate and just toss it over, but I put the top on this thing because then it's a lot cleaner and it's more effective. And I just found that you could just, when you're making a lot of chicken, you could just, you can bread them a lot faster. So now I got this seasoning mixed into here. Everything's good right here. You can put 2 in here at a time, just like that. And so now I'm just gonna go right here, and I'm just gonna go simple like with just a flick of the wrist. Just a flick of the wrist, that's all it is. So just like that, flick of the wrist. You know, just about 10 seconds would be good. Even when you know they're well coated, you just want to make sure they're well coated, because I don't double dip them. I just want to give them a good solid coat the first time. And so now what we end up with is that baby's just filled, you know. And so this is gonna go to a hungry stomach somewhere, and you see that those are just filled on both sides.
Wow.
Those are ready to go. And so as far as the heat and the oil, I didn't bring the oil in because I just didn't want to make a big mess. But the oil I do use is it's a combination. So it's 80-20. It's a vegetable oil, 80% vegetable oil and 20% extra virgin olive oil. Just kind of gives it a premium type oil to it. Gives it a nice texture when you cook it, because when you use a virgin olive oil, you can't cook it at a high temperature, and when you fry stuff, you got to cook it at a high temperature. I like to get the oil really hot, and then once I get it hot, I know it's hot and I can control the temperature. I put it down to medium, so it's about medium high, and a batch of about 7 in a good sized pan probably take about 15 minutes. And if you're not cooking them for at least 15 minutes, you're probably cooking it too fast or you're undercooking it. So this is something I perfected over the years. So that's how you make fried chicken. I serve that with mashed potatoes, corn, and a salad, and that's a meal of champions. That's what I've been having all my life. I perfected that. So you guys can have some.
Nice. What's it called, Mike?
Triple thread country fried chicken. Check it.
Where did you get masa?
It's